Hi everybody. In this video I want to talk briefly about writing an abstract. So I want to talk to you a little bit about introducing you to the notion of an abstract and what the purpose of an abstract is for our paper, and then talk you through a worksheet that I will be uploading alongside with this video to our beach board for you to check out and to kind of work through on your own. Of course, like everything else, I am available if you need further clarifications, questions, and you could always meet with me to talk about those issues. So one of the things that I want you to have by the time you turn in the final paper is an abstract. The abstract is very short. It's only one paragraph, between 150 to 200 words, max 300 words, no more than that. So it's a short piece. You could write it probably in one sitting, and the 300 words or the 150 to 300 words of an abstract do not count as part of the total 6,000 word count, just so you know. So let me talk through first what the point of an abstract is and the style and how you write it before talking to you about the worksheet that I'll be posting up. So let me share with you this document. So the point of an abstract, abstracts, you could see them in two places mainly. One is in academic papers, in journal articles, or sometimes in books that are kind of edited volumes that include a bunch of different articles, and also in academic conferences. And the point of an abstract is basically a place where you're able to see, in the case specifically of an academic paper, a place where you see, well, what is this paper going to be about? It's very short, and that's why it's short. So it's a short read that I'm able to read it quickly and figure out, what is this paper going to be about? Is it related to the things of my concern? And should I then invest my time in reading that paper? So that's why it's supposed to be very clear, it's supposed to be to the point, and it's supposed to be easy read so that you could kind of quickly check it out to see if I should actually, download the paper, go buy the paper, and read through it. For a conference, for an academic conference, it serves a similar purpose. Basically, the abstract is the advertisement that the paper, should the paper deserve your audience, right? Should you go and check out that paper or not? So given that it's really trying, the abstract is trying to speak to a wide audience, how do you make sure that that's what it does? So the audience for the abstract that you read covers the broadest possible scope of people, because you never know who's reading it. As some of you already know, you're researching fields that you might not be that you might require, you might be required to check out some pieces that are outside of your own expertise. And so you want to still be able to look at that abstract and very quickly figure out what it's about. So the language is meant for everybody from an expert in that field to the general audience. And so for that reason, it needs to be limited in terms of the amount of technical language that it uses. You don't want to be jargony. You want to be kind of for it to be read by a lay person. So thus, for that reason, in the abstract, you never want to refer to anything by an acronym. You want to spell everything out. You don't want to throw in there complex theories that you might explore in the paper, just kind of the purpose of the paper itself. And you want to make sure that you know that your readers are not experts in the field, so you want to avoid using insider knowledge for that. So what does an abstract, given that it's meant to be for this broad audience, what should it include? So what an abstract includes is, one, the purpose of the project, the purpose of the project and identifying the area of study to which it belongs. Two, it tries to talk about the research problem that motivates the project itself. So you know how you have your research question that you're asking that is very particular, but there is this larger overarching question that that this research kind of speaks to. Uh, Third, the methods used to answer this research. So I'm using it uses a comparative framework, it uses interviews, it uses big data, whatever those things are. The conclusion, and basically like what's the outcome of the research that you did? What's the outcome? What's the, what's the ending? What's the conclusion that this paper comes up with? And then lastly, what's the significance of that conclusion? In other words, so what? Why should we care? These are the questions that, in other words, if you want to put them into simple questions, the abstract asks, what are you asking? Why is it important? How was it studied? And what you will use to demonstrate your conclusion? What are those conclusions and what do they mean? So those are, broadly speaking, the questions that you want to answer in the abstract. Now look, it's only 200 words, right? 150 to 300 words. So literally every question that I just, every one of these questions just requires 1 sentence, 2 sentences max. It's very short and to the point. So this is not where you try to fully explain it. You just say in 1 sentence the answer to every question, so that you just the reader just wants to just get a quick answer, quickly see what it's about. If then it is of their interest, then they of course will have to sit and actually read through your paper to see what the full answer to these questions are, right? So you don't need, it doesn't need to be a worked out explanation. Stylistically, you want to make sure you answer all the questions, but you want to do it concisely. So don't be too wordy and just be straight to the point. You want to be clear, again, no jargons, well organized, and cohesive, so it should flow smoothly. And lastly, eliminate jargon, omit needless words. So too many adjectives, just get rid of those. This is not where you want to show that you're passionate. This is not where you want to show how deeply committed you are to this or that theory or the idea. It's very dry. It's very to the point. If they want to see your passion or whatever, they'll get that from actually reading your paper. And so again, so it's very, very specific and to the point. So let me now kind of talk you through the worksheet that I'm also going to be posting, so you could kind of see what we're talking about here. Let me get that up on my screen too. So this is the worksheet, and so what I want you to do, if you're writing your abstract, I have laid out a couple of questions for you. Sorry. So I've laid out a couple of questions. So the question is, what do we know about your topic? Why is it important? This is the question about background. So quickly, why is it important? If you're talking about refugees, well, why is the question of refugees important? So you could say, well, there is a growing problem of refugees today, given the number of civil wars and wars that are happening, or something like that. The second question is, what is your research paper about? What are the main issues that you're dealing with? So you've already written your research question, folks. So this is where it's another place where you kind of restate what the research question is. So right after you ask what the research question is, then you say, in this paper, this question is approached using the following methodology. So here you want to go back to your method section and take out that part about methods. So, I'm looking at these 2 cases in this time and in this place, using secondary sources, right? So this could be the part about methods. Then you want to talk about what your findings were. So it's very important. You don't want to hide your findings in your abstract. You kind of give them the punchline, right? So I discovered that, or the paper argues that, or the data uncovered by the paper suggests that. and then what your findings are. Again, very short and very short. If they are interested in it, they'll actually go ahead and read the paper itself. And that lastly, what are the major implications of your findings? So given that this is the conclusion that you came up with, why is that important? So that last sentence could be kind of the larger implication, how this paper speaks to even more than just the research question, but this larger background, this larger story that you're attempting to get at. So that's the abstract. I want an abstract written for the paper, but don't stress about it. It's a quick write-up. If you have any issues with writing the abstract, write it, and then you could send it to me. I could give you, I could tell you quickly my thoughts on it, or if you schedule an office hours and we could read it together and talk through it. So I hope this is helpful, and I look forward to reading your abstract.